guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Maddie, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the second half of my trip in Bali, Indonesia, one of the best trips of my life. And I split this up into two different videos because I have a lot of footage and I have a lot of things to talk about. And as I mentioned in my last video, I didn't do a good job of vlogging while I was there, so I'm trying out a new style and I'm sitting and talking through the footage and the clips that I got while I was in Bali. So come and join and see what I did while I was in Bali. Day 5 was when our Airbnb host took us on a little tour of some nearby sites that we wanted to see that were close to Ubud. Today we are off on another tour and we're going to a bunch of temples today, which I'm excited about. We've seen a bunch of temples already, but I feel like each one has its own story, so it's kind of cool to see a bunch of different ones. And we'll be gone most of the morning, and then we'll probably come back in to chill at the Airbnb this afternoon. The first stop was the Elephant Cave Temple, which is also known as Gajah. I think that's how you say it. And I loved this temple. Even though we saw so many temples, each one was just so different from the last. So this one was especially special because it was a cave, and in the front of it, the cave, carved into the stone, is this beautiful visual image of an elephant. And this temple really made it clear to us that the temples really are used as like a community gathering space. In most of the temples, there's a little workshop area in the back where there is like a kitchen area and then also like a workshop. But it's interesting because all the temples that we went to in India were all actively used with like worshippers there, and we were in the minority of people that were visiting that weren't there to worship and use the temple for its purpose. But all the temples that we went to in Bali were completely just tourists. Like, I don't think I saw a single person at a temple that was there to actually use the temple for its purpose. I don't know, take that as you will. Bali in general was a lot more touristy than I thought it was going to be, and I knew it was going to be somewhat touristy just because like it's such a famous travel destination. It was still amazing, but just if you're planning on going to Bali, just don't go into it expecting that it's going to be this raw, real place, because it's unfortunately not anymore. But it's still beautiful and you should go if you have the chance. So back to Gajah. As we were walking around the Gajah temple, we realized that there was a little hiking trail. So we took it, and it took us to 2 beautiful waterfalls and another small temple that was up a hill. So that was really amazing too, and a bonus temple that we didn't know we would be able to see. Kehen temple, I think that's how you say it, in Bangli, which is up north of Ubud. And this temple was definitely the most majestic temple that we visited. It was up on a mountain overlooking the town of Bangli. The views were amazing, and also the temple itself was amazing. It wasn't as big as some of the other temples, but it was like very tall. Like the structures were so ornate and tall, and you can tell that so much time was put into making that. This temple was kind of eerily empty though. There was no one else there except for Ryan and I, and it just felt very spiritual and energetic. went to the Court of Justice, which was a really cool structure around this koi pond and gardens, and it was awesome. And there were some beautiful paintings that were really old on the ceilings of the Court of Justice, which depicted the philosophy of Hinduism, which was really interesting to look at. We went to the attached museum to this area, which if you go, I totally recommend going. And we learned there that this site, this town, was actually where the last battle was fought between the Balinese and the Dutch, and it's actually where the Balinese were finally conquered by the Dutch. And if you don't know, the history of Indonesia is that it was colonized by the Dutch gradually throughout the islands, and this was the last site that the Balinese were actually free. This just really struck me because it's easy to ignore the histories of the places that you're in, especially if they're beautiful and you're just there in the moment taking in the sights. But it's important to remember, learn the history of where you actually are, even if it isn't Instagram worthy. Extremely hot because Bali, this time of year, we went in November, October-ish. It gets really, really hot in the afternoons. So we actually were starting to get on the schedule of the local people where they do stuff in the morning, come home in the afternoon during the hottest hours of the day, and then go back out in the evening time when it's cooler and get everything else done. And we ended up kind of getting on that wavelength just because it's seriously too hot to do anything in the afternoons. So we cut our tour short and we went back to the Airbnb, relaxed for the afternoon, and then we went back into the Ubud Center for dinner and had dinner at this place called Burger Cartel, which was full-on Western food. American. I got vegan burger and we got milkshakes, and it was exactly what we needed and so, so good. Glad I found this place.
We walk around.
Yeah, we'll get you. Day 6 was our super chill day. This was a few days before we left, unfortunately, so we took the day to just kind of relax in between tours, journal, catch up on sleep, and we went into town at night. We finished up our souvenir shopping, and I actually haggled with people because at the markets in Bali, the way that you buy things is that there's no price tags on anything. You have to actively haggle with the shopkeepers to buy things, and I was always really scared of doing that because I just feel like if they work so hard to make this thing, then they deserve as much as they're asking for it, even though they know they're taking advantage of you as a white tourist in my case. So I tried to haggle, didn't do probably as much as I should have done, but I was proud of myself for engaging in the culture of the place. We had dinner at this place called Italian restaurant. Now that I think about it, we had a lot of Italian food in Bali, but honestly I'm not too mad about it because all of the places that we ate were so delicious. Even the moon is different here. It's upside down. Yet another lizard has intruded in our living space. This time it's in our bedroom. Yay!